Good morning, Canadian Yarn Hoard. My name's Alyssa, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with these little tiny granny squares. And I'm going to show you two different projects you can make with them. So there's a nice pop freeze cover, and the one we're going to mainly focus on is the bracelet. So they're both the same thing, same style, just different size hook, different yarn, but same exact pattern. I'm going to move you over to the overhead cam, and we're going to get started. All right, so this is a bracelet. I have made 3 of the 4 squares, as you can see. Basically, I've just reversed the colors. So what I've used is this Patton's Grace that I got at Len's Mills for $6.99. It is 100% mercerized cotton. You get 136 yards. On the back, it says light 3. You're recommended to use a 3.75 hook and needle. It does say hand wash in that. This color is lavender. This color is aquifer. And then this one I did get years ago at Walmart. It is an acrylic, so it is not cotton. It is a baby love. It doesn't have a name, it only has a number. And that's what I used for the border of it. The only difference between these two and these ones I used for 24/7 cotton. So the only difference, and this one's fully made, all I have to do is assemble it, which I figured I'd show on screen. And I did use different size hooks for both of them. So I used the 3.75 or 3.5 for the 100% 24/7 cotton. And I used this one because this one's a little bit thinner for both of them. So let's get started. So we're going to start with the lavender because that's the one I need to do. So I don't need that hook anymore. I've used it. So you're going to make a magic circle, and what this pattern is called, it is called Granny Square in the Round. So you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's your first double crochet. This will be your second double crochet and your third double crochet. And then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. You're going to do another group of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to chain 2 again. Now, I really wanted to do this because I wanted to show the versatility of granny squares. They're not just for blankets or cardigans or anything like that, though you can easily use them for all. It can be used for other things. 2 and 3. And now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And you're going to do your last clump of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And then you're going to tighten that up. And you're going to grab that stitch right there. And you're going to slip stitch. Now you're not going to pull through the second loop because you are going to trim the yarn. And honestly, that's all I need from that one because I've already made the other 3 squares. So now I'm going to tighten, sorry, cat at my feet, tighten up this one. So you're going to go in and you're going to go around and you're just going to tighten it up. And that way it keeps it out of your way. With these smaller projects, that can be very, very helpful. Keeping it all out of your path, out of your way, so you don't get confused. I'm going to come around to the purple so that when I come out at the purple and I trim it, it looks fine. As I said, I'm now done with that purple for this project. I'm going to grab my aquifer, leaving a tad bit of a tail. Now this one, you want to go 1, 2, it's that second tail. There we go. 2 and 3, and then you're going to go back into that hole right there. So you are going to double crochet 2 double crochets into this hole at the back. 1 and 2. Right tail. Now this next one, grab your 2 tails up and out of the way, and you're going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And now in the same hole, you're going to do another 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now the nice thing about doing a granny square in the round is it is ever expanding if you'd like it to be. I'm only doing 2 rounds. 2 and 3. And then you're going to double crochet. 1, or single crochet, chain 2 I mean. And then do your next double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Just kind of keep your square in the square shape. You're going to go into the next hole. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, and then you're going to do your 3 crochets in this one. 1, 2, 3. So now you're on to the last one, and you're going to 3 in this. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to chain 2 still. Hey! Sorry about that. Cat fight. 1, 2, and then you're going to slip stitch that. Now there's your little square. I'm going to pull that through since I have that one done. Just tighten it up a tad, pull it, trim it, and then when you pull now, it will hide away. Now this one we're going to darn in, and then we're going to start the border for the bracelet. So I'm going to try and tighten that up and in so it's a little more secure so it doesn't come undone on you, although it probably will get tucked in on the way. So you can go around here and just kind of tuck in your tail. There we go. So now we're going to start with this baby yarn. What I wanted to do is I'm going to start here at this edge, and I'm going to go around the square and single crochet 1, now I'm not going in the round yet until I get to the square sides. So you're just going to try and, sorry, just working on tucking that tail in. There we go. And now each one you're just going to single crochet each stitch you come across. 2, and then you're going to do 3 here. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to go around again this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the corner ones all get 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to do 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're at the last row. So 1, 2, 3. Now, you want to make sure you grab the alternate one. And you're going to in single crochet in 1. And single crochet in this one. And you're going to do that all the way up. Single crochet and single crochet. Single crochet. Now I'm very new to joining in the round, to joining granny squares together. Normally I would just sew them, but because I want to get them together and I want to make them look good, I'm going to do it this way. And then I'm going to go around that one. Just going to keep pulling up and through. Split the yarn there. Up. Keep going. Just want to get these all attached in the first row. So now you're going to single crochet around it again. So you're going to do 1, 2. You're not going to do 3 because you're going to call that one the third one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3. I want this color. So you're going to grab this one on the edge. There, that's the stitch you're working with. So you're going to tighten 1 on each side. Yeah, bring it up. That stitch. Bring it up and through. And if you have a better way to attach them, like I said, you could probably sew them together. So maybe the last one, I'll try that. Actually, maybe I'm going to do that anyways. I'm just going to sew them all together first. So I'm going to leave that guy like that. But I'm going to grab a little bit of this guy. So that's just the end part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew them all together. And that way I'm not fighting with this. I did it yesterday, but I'm not entirely sure how I got them all attached. And I want to make them look good. So I'm going to darn these ends together. And then I'll show you how I go around it. Just going to go back into this little first stitch. You really should have a stitch marker on that guy, so I don't lose that stitch. But this is what happens when you're learning to do something. You're still learning. that. Come out on this side. And I'm just going to tighten so I don't pull the tail through by accident, which can happen. And now you're just going to attach without getting this one tangled. You want to hold it a little bit back. You're just going to attach these two. Because like I said, if you notice, you're going to see that these ones all had white in between. I'm not going to be doing that with this guy. I'm not entirely sure how I did that, but I mean, I guess you could, I guess you could do that. So maybe I'll try that instead. Because I like having the white in between each one, what I'm going to do is I am going to try going around them. There we go. So that's off. Let's see if we can do it this time. Determined to make it work. So now we have this guy here. So you're going to do one, come onto this side, and you want to do this one. Come over here and 2. Let's see if we can make this work. So I do like having the white in between each square. It gives it just a little bit of a break. So I am determined to make this work. But I did notice on yesterday's that it did make it a little bit uneven, which was why I wasn't overly happy with it. But, so now you're going to single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when you come out this time for this one, now I need the green. So now we're going to do the green one. I'm going to get off my table because I don't need it on there anymore. And I'm very adamant about keeping your table clean. Oh, that was not good. Nope. So now you're going to go into this one and you're going to single crochet. You're going to come over here and single crochet. Oh, I did not do that right. And you just kind of work along, single crocheting in each side. So single crochet, single crochet, that wasn't done right. So let's fix that. Oh, I didn't grab that one either properly. So we're going to come in here. Now we're going to go into this one. Yep. Both bars. That one and that one. This bar, this last one, and you're going to do this last one. So now we're going to come all the way down to just going to go in there, and there. And you're going to come over here and you're going to go around 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will grab that one in a minute. When I'm done, I'm going to make sure I go around. Actually, I'm going to grab this yarn, this one, and I'm going to bring the yarn up. And I'm just going to single crochet up to it. So that way it's all covered. I have to pull that tail out. So there we go. So I just have to take this off because I didn't do a center pull with this one. I just did the outer pull. We're just gonna pull up. So 1, 2. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab the proper yarn and you're going to pull it. Actually, I'm going to do one more. And then I will do that. You're going to grab the proper yarn thread that you want. You pull it in. And I'm going to do 1 stitch with the 2 of them, 2 yarns together. And then I'm going to drop the 1 stitch, the one yarn I don't need anymore. Pull it off. Now I'm going to single crochet up. 1, 2. I'm just going to tuck that tail in. 3. Now the ice pop will be a lot, freezy cover will be a lot easier to do just because it's just a matter of stitching it up now. 2. Now I'm going to grab this last one. I want it that way. Sorry, just checking to see which way I want it. 1. As I said, you're just going to keep going around and picking up the stitches on this edge. 1 single crochet and then the next single crochet. Or if you want to do just a slip stitch, both of them work. I've done both of them in this bracelet, so it's not a big deal. Okay. So if you notice, I have to do that one more time with the color, the actual outer row. I'm going to flip it around. I'm just going to pull up that there. We're just going to grab a little bit more of this outer yarn. I think this actual tail that I cut off will work. So I'm using up excess scrap yarn. And you're just going to single crochet down it. And that way it all looks cohesive until you're ready to go around the bracelet in a row. And I think I did 2 full rows around. So. And this shows that if you do happen to cut a tail and your tail is way too long and you didn't actually need that length, that's okay. You can use the tail in other ways. And now, as you see, I'm back to the working yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the two, single crochet them both together. I'm going to come in and I'm going to actually pull it through this way. And then I'm going to pull it through that way. So there we go. I don't think I got it all, did I? Oh my goodness, I didn't. Oh goodness, didn't get it quite right. So 1, 1, 2, and then we're going to pull. Oh goodness. This is the one thing about this yarn. It is fuzzy. Leave that like that. This one, I just got to grab that loop. And then this loop fell out, so this is my working yarn. We're going to stitch, 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 and you're going to grab that guy, and you're going to pull them together, and then you're going to have the two together. And you're going to turn, and 1, 2, and you're going to drop the tail. So the tail is not in there. And you're going to go 1, 2, and you're just going to carry on with your working yarn. So I do hope to earn your like and subscription. I would love to hear from you about what you would use Crochet Granny Square for. Any tips, tricks, ideas would be great to hear. Any questions, comments, or concerns, I'd love to hear them. So I think I just did a fourth one. So I'm going to pull that out because I don't need a fourth one. So we're going around the corner now. And one other thing I did not say that you need for this, if you're going to make the bracelet, is a clasp. Now, you can make your own. I've done it. I used to do beadwork, so it is possible to make your own. However, I love these little toggle clasps. They are so nice. They are a little bit tricky to get on sometimes. They can be. But getting them off is always a one-person thing. You do not need help to get them off. They're so easy to pull off. And I think that is what I like most about it. So there's the bracelet so far. We're just going to go in the round, all the way around now, allowing it to, and as you can see, I did the entire bracelet on this one out of this. I have not used very much of it, and it is a baby yarn, so it is a nice soft yarn. It'll be really nice and soft for a bracelet. It'll make this bracelet really, really nice. Put that away. Cable's getting messy. And you're just going to keep going. Just going to keep single crocheting. And if you get to a spot where you don't like, it's like a little bit of a dip, you can always try to, I'm going to trim that. I think that tail's a little long now. So I think I've worked it in well. You can always do a double or a half double crochet in the space if it's not lined up well. And that'll make it look a little bit more even. So you're just going to single crochet like this all the way around, allowing yourself to have a border. Just keep going around and around, picking up stitches. And then on that last row, which is I think I did 2 or 3 rows, does not take much to make it look really nice and uniformed. And you'll know if you like it as you're going. If you're going and you're like, it's not straight enough for me, do another row. Do another border row. Like here's a really good example of doing a half double crochet here. So I'm going to do half double crochet in there. And that filled out that little space in there. So now it looks all full and it doesn't look like you've got to step down or the square wasn't completely in line as you sewed it in. A lot of work will be forgiving the more border you put on it. So even though it may look a little wonky, give yourself credit, do a border, and you might actually like how it turns out. And then as you get better and better and better, you get better at what's under the border. As I said, I haven't really done these squares before in a bracelet. This was my first time. So not looking the best, but this one is turning out far better than my first one did. So now we're going to, I think I'm going to do 3 rows around the border just to make it look. And if you notice, as I get to the border stitch, which is this one, I'm going to do 3, 1, 2, 3 to go around the corner, and then you just keep traveling down. So I'm going to come back after I'm done the 3rd row to show you how to attach the clasp, and I'll see you then. Okay, so now that I've gotten the bracelet essentially done, I'm going to darn in this end. And then what you want to do is you want to, especially if you have a smaller tail that you didn't realize you cut a little too short. There. And you just kind of darn it in. And what you're going to do is you're going to take just a bit of either thread or yarn. I've done it with yarn on that one. I'm going to grab some of my beading thread. So I'm going to pause. I will be right back with my beading thread, my beading needles, and I'll show you how to attach it properly. So here's my beading thread. I am going to find, I'll just grab one of these light ones here. I don't have any white in that bag. So I'm going to take off probably about that much, not terribly large amount. Yeah. Now, if you have beeswax, you can always thread the yarn with beeswax. I've done that. It helps keep the yarn a little more stringent, a little more together, keeps it from separating. Oh, that is horrible, horrible. Oh, it was a horrible cut. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this tiny little needle. Grab both the ends. Now I'm going to thread both of them through that loop of the toggle. And then you just tie up. Now if I wanted to, now would be a good time to add a pony bead if I have them. I don't have them beside me. And what you're just going to do is, let me just see, I have a couple here that are glow in the dark, but they'll work. So here's a couple of glow in the dark ones. So just grab, you can use any beads you have. I just happen to have these beside me. And the reason I do suggest this part, especially on this particular end, if I can, I'll try and feed that through, feed that one through as well. Just feed it through. And then I'm going to just tie a knot here. Hoping that it will hold that bead in place. And now you're going to find that spot right there. And I'm going to tie again. So that way I'm tying it to the project. Just a tiny, tight little knot. And you're going to go in through. And if you are interested, I can start incorporating beads into knitting. I'm working on that. I'm working on some patterns to do that. I will hopefully do that in the future. I like the idea of having yarn and beads together. So, and this is a seed bead or a pony seed bead. I did get it from a store that I know no longer exists, which is sad because it was one of my favorites. But they ended up closing down not that long ago. My husband went to Newmarket and found that the bead lady had closed down. So, oops. So I'm sure you can find them. I'm not sure where, but I'm sure Michael's will have something. Now, what I do recommend is tie that knot there, trim, and then a tip I learned from doing all of my beadwork was if you really wanted to tighten that knot and you didn't want to use glue because it leaves a residue, you can do nail polish. And what I always learn to do is I nail polished up here so that those threads didn't break. So now you just kind of let that dry. And this one in particular, this side very much in particular, you want to do that with because that's going to take the most wear and tear. So now what you're going to do is you have a little bit left. You don't need a lot. So you're just going to grab both those ends, try and filter them through the hole, tie a knot. And as I said, I did the exact same process minus the nail polish. Now, if you want to put a bead on this end, it'll work. And again, we're going to try and get those ends in and through because they have a nicer finishing look when you do that. And then you also have access to using these tails to tie up as you saw. Sometimes you gotta just kind of do the whole put it in your mouth and run it through thing. Sometimes you have to do that. This one just does not want to go into the bead, does it? It could be the bead. It could be a small hole in the bead. Yet again, things I've come across while beading. So maybe I'll try and find a little bit larger of a bead hole. That one looks pretty good. Apparently I didn't double tie it, which I found out very quickly. Just try and get it through. I hope I don't have to go grab my beeswax to get it to go through the bead. Got it that time. As I said, just try and throw another knot in here just to try and prevent it from being pulled back through. There we go. And now you're just going to find the center of it, and you're just going to run it through a few times, just mainly to ensure that it won't come off of that. And being that it is thread, it is nice and tiny, so you can run it through the bead, this petite bead in particular. If you have the smaller beads, they can be a little bit harder to run thread through multiple times. That's why these are specific bead needles. That's because you want small, do not want a large needle. And you push it through. Go. And you're going to make another knot if you can. And there you pretty much have it after you glue with nail polish. It does take a little bit of finicky, only because I didn't have enough thread. If I'd have done a little bit more thread, I'd have a little more to work with. Be a little bit easier, but I'm just working with what I got. Through, tighten, trim, pull the needle off the thread, and put it away. As I said, these are a very specific bead needle that I got. I'm pretty sure I got these at that bead lady as well. However, I don't believe they're open anymore. I do believe they've closed now. At least my husband noticed last time he was there. So we're just going to put a tiny bit of nail polish on this toggle and around the bead. Now, I don't know if you can see in my last final things I have to do here. There is a little bit of fuzz on this one, but there's a lot of fuzz on this one. And that is because I did this with the other one. Now you want to be extremely careful. You want to run this lighter very fast. You do not want to stop. You do not want to pause. You want to be quick about it because it will burn the yarn. But what it'll do, so here, grab that there, because I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lot of fuzz there. A lot of fuzz there. And I'm just trying to make it so that the fuzz is not as prominent. There we go. So there's that. I'm going to put the other one on because that one's still a little wet. So now with these toggles, oh, that's lighter. What you're going to do is they're a little bit of a challenge getting them on one-handed, but you pull it through and there it is. Now, there's your bracelet. To get it off, it's super easy. Tip it down and off it comes. Very, very simple. Now, what we're going to do for this next project, because it is the exact same. They are the exact same pattern. So I'm just going to show you how to sew this up because I didn't want to show the repeat pattern. And what we're going to do is we're just going to darn these guys together. And this is going to be, so you just make them both up. I'm going to go this way only because I can see that loop there is not where it should be. So I'm going to grab it. Now, I'm also not worried because with this one, I was able to flip it inside out. So I was able to sew and darn all these edges together and then flip the project so you could not see that. So now I just made 4 squares, 4 of these granny squares, just like this project. So there's just 4 of them. Made the exact same way. Now, when you get to the edge, you're going to want to remember that you are not going to keep going. well, actually, I'm going to keep going on this one because I want to get all the way around. And then you're going to leave that edge open. So you have one edge open, not two. Okay, so we're just going to keep darning. And you're just going to keep going. If you want to tighten it up in the sense that you do not want it free-flowing, and when you pull on it, it tightens your work, just kind of go back a couple of stitches and circle around them. So just like that, where I went backwards instead of forwards and just sewed in, and that way you know for a fact it's not an open. It'll be harder to unravel if for some reason these threads get cut. It will not unravel as easily. So basically this is the bottom of the Ice Pop freeze cover. Now we're just doing all three sides. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add. So you're not going to do this last fourth side. You don't need to. And I did an earlier ice freeze pop. We used them on the weekend that it was super, super hot and we were outside, and it worked really well. And I thought, you know what, when I was making that bracelet, it came across that it would be a really good idea to make another one, especially with the granny squares, because they're very easy to do. And so I just added the two together and came up with this idea. I know that I have seen someone else do it, so it is not my original idea, but I did not actually watch how they did it. So it was just, this is my version of what they did. If it's the same, wow, great minds think alike. If it's not, then somebody else came up with a great idea and I just did my own way of doing it, which is a lot of times what I like to do. So what I like to do is I like to see someone's idea. Like I was flipping through, I don't even know what I was flipping through, and I saw a soap sack. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own soap sack. And basically what that is it's for soap. Just gonna go up this side. And what it does is you put the soap in it, you use it to clean your body, and then you can hang the soap in the shower in this little bag, which I actually did buy proper bags from, I think it's called Zumi on Amazon. I don't know if my husband and my son like them. They still use them, but I don't know if they're definitely not a loofah like they advertise. But they did seem to use them. So that's why I thought a soap sack was a good idea. So I'm going to come up with my own version. It'll probably be the next thing I do today. Though these won't be posted probably on the same day, and this will just be R&D. So I'll be just doing the initial idea, which I have to figure out which yarn I want to use and all of that. But we're just going to keep going. So now that I've double sewed this because I wanted to come back down, so I could attach these guys this way. So you just want to attach all the stitches that you know you're going to want. So you do not want to attach the insides of them. You want to leave it as hollow. Like I said, you're going to be able to turn this inside out. And I just didn't want to trim off, darn in, and then start the next thread. I like to keep a continuous thread because then you have less chance of it unraveling on you. So, just those stitches darn together. And then now I get to go up the side. And now I'm on my last side. So we're just going to pull up here. Then you just keep coming up. And this is where we're going to stop. So I'm going to go in a circle, back a stitch, back, and that kind of locks it into place. Then I'm going to come back down and just kind of use up a bit more of the tail, giving you a little bit of extra room in case it does actually come off or just darns it in. So there we go. Now, as I said, I flipped it inside out because you can see the black here. So if you don't want to see that, flip it inside out. And then you don't actually see any of the stitching, but it'll still fit nicely in here. And yes, this is a thawed freezy, so it's a little harder to get that freezy in, but when they're frozen, they go in a lot easier. So there you have it. 2 designs for the same pattern, 2 very small patterns to make, and I do hope to earn your like and subscription today. I do hope you enjoyed what you saw. I do hope to hear from you in the questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section below. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again. Bye.